This is ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya! D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan! D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown!
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
wide
it?
open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Well, one thing's for certain in the game of life, things will change. Things definitely change. No matter how comfortable you might be in a certain situation or how uncomfortable you might be, things do change in life. And we're changing a little bit here on Halftime. I think it'll be for the good. Phil Elson here, Ty Richardson in the ESPN Arkansas studios. And today's show might sound a little bit different than it has before. We are going to brand new clocks, or commercial breaks will be firing off at different times than they have been. Our segments will be, a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, depending on which segment you're talking about. And I'm actually excited about this. I think these changes are going to make us more disciplined radio hosts that will maybe make the show a little bit more succinct. On the other hand, there might be a little bit of a bumpy road over the first couple of days as we get used to breaks that are firing off at an exact time instead of what you and I do sometimes. And I think I might be guilty of it more than you. Rambling on a little bit and taking our segments to a little longer than they should be. So I guess this is the way the national shows operate. Why not this be the way that a hopefully at some point statewide show operates too? So I'm excited about the change. I don't know if our listeners will be able to necessarily detect that, but now they will because I've let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, and I think as a guy that's done baseball broadcasts for however many years, since you were, 18, 19 years old, it's a little different being radio than baseball because you just kind of you keep going radio. Unfortunately, there's times that we have to hone it in and change the subject or go on to a break, but that's part of it, changing. And like you said, Phil, I think it'll be good for us, good for the show moving forward.
You can never get fat and happy, or if you do get fat and happy, you got to find a way to shake things up a little bit. And if I could take a baseball ism, you got to be able to adjust pitch by pitch, at bat by at bat, game by game. You got to close your holes, find new strengths if you can, and that's kind of what we're doing here on the show. So with the idea of changes, we're moving on to a change potentially in who Arkansas will be facing next Saturday behind center for the Kentucky Wildcats. And it's really interesting, Ty, because injuries are one way that a team can be ruined. But there's no position on the field, especially in college football now, where a team's outlook on a season and their success or lack thereof can be changed depending on the injury to somebody, a quarterback. Not everybody is going to be Alabama. That's got a guy like Tua Tagovailoa sitting behind Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago and can come in to relieve and take you all the way to a national championship. Although that wasn't because of an injury, that was because of Nick Saban figuring, I got somebody else. Let's see if this works. And there have been injuries at the quarterback position in the SEC this year that have seriously damaged some teams' potential success. Look at what's going on at Mississippi State, losing Tommy Stevens to a shoulder injury, and who knows if he would have taken them into the promised land or not. There's one team that probably has been more affected by the injury bug to the quarterback position than anybody else in the SEC, and it's Kentucky. It's the team that Arkansas faces next Saturday. Terry Bowden out for the year after the I think his injury occurred in the second week of the season. Terry Wilson. Who did I call him? Terry Bowden?
Old Clemson coach.
Old Clemson coach. That first name, I think, stood out to me. So right then and there, I mean, you had a Kentucky team that, yes, they lost their best player on offense, Benny Snell. Lost Josh Allen, their best player on defense as well, but still had a lot of pieces to the puzzle that brought them to 10 victories last year. And Terry Wilson Jr. was probably at the top of the list as far as those things were concerned. So they end up going to Sawyer Smith, and Smith, the quarterback for them during their loss at Mississippi State a couple of weeks ago, and then gets injured again. An injury to his throwing shoulder this past Saturday against Mississippi State. And so now they're going to be on a third string, a third string at quarterback, and they don't even know who it's going to be. So, I mean, if you're Arkansas, and there's some people that might think, hey, there should be a quarterback controversy at Arkansas with the way Ben Hicks played in relief of Nick Starkel. But Chad Morris has already said that Starkel is the guy, and it's good for him in that sense that he's got this week off, the bye week, to let that left shoulder heal, and hopefully can be ready again to get back as QB1 when they are preparing for Kentucky next week. But it's not it isn't injuries that is the reason that Arkansas has made a switch at quarterback the first time. Of course, you did have the injury to Starkel against Texas A&M, but you have you're expecting that it's not a major injury for Starkel, and that he'll be back under center. For Kentucky, things are ready to spiral out of control. Ty, I mean, when you're a college team and you're on your third string quarterback, and you're not, like Ohio State a few years ago, and you got Cardell Jones just sitting back there.
Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, Cardell Jones.
It's way different when you're the Kentucky Wildcats, and this has got to put Mark Stoops and his team in a really delicate position because how many, look at Arkansas. Who would be the third stringer for the Razorbacks right now?
It's a great question.
Exactly. We don't even know who it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you get John Stephen Jones under center. Maybe K.J. Jefferson would be forced to remove what looks like a definite red shirt. But for Kentucky, they're even looking at a potential wide receiver, Lynn Bowden, at starting at quarterback. Walker Wood, another quarterback, but he's had a couple of shoulder surgeries. So, I mean, if you're the Kentucky Wildcats, it's got to be, you got to be up in arms right now, and there's nothing they can do apparently about Smith. I mean, they've got the bye week as well, so it doesn't look like Sawyer Smith's injury will heal in time to get him ready for Arkansas. So I mean, I think there are a number of places where Arkansas definitely competes with Kentucky, but one spot that they're going to have an edge, Ty, is at quarterback, and that's even with Nick Starkel or Ben Hicks playing for the Hogs next Saturday.
Stoops said on his radio show last night that everything is on the table at quarterback. Phil, they're potentially going to start their third different starting quarterback through 6 games of the season. We mentioned Terry Wilson out for the year. Sawyer Smith's kind of been banged up. We'll see if he gets ready for the Razorbacks when they come into town. And then they bring in a wide receiver in Lynn Bowden, who did play quarterback in high school, was like the 4th best athlete in the country when he ended up going to Kentucky. So he has the QB reps from high school, and he had one drive last week against South Carolina, the only one they scored. But it's not like he has a ton of reps this season. And yes, it helps that one of the weaker opponents, if not the weakest opponent in the SEC, that being Arkansas, is coming into Lexington. So that kind of gets him ready. But I'll say this, the Arkansas defensive line and just the defense itself didn't play awful last week against Texas A&M. They showed some potential there. But it's just interesting that while Arkansas is dealing with their quarterback situation, we still don't know about Nick Starkel. Hopefully we'll hear something sooner than later. But I don't anticipate with Chad Morris not speaking to the media this week that we'll hear anything until we talk to him next week. But the quarterback controversy I'm kind of curious about, Phil. Yes, Chad Morris said that after the game that Nick Starkel is still the starter, but we're kind of back in the opposite end of the situation we had with Ben Hicks when he was the starter. If he struggles, does Ben Hicks get a crack? If he throws a pick or two, does Ben Hicks get the shot? It's the complete opposite of where we were at the beginning of the season. I don't think many people anticipated that, but because of how Ben Hicks played and came in and looked sharp against Texas A&M, Phil, that's where we are right now.
Brought to you today by our friends at Breeden RV and Power Sports in Van Buren. Still got a chance to save thousands right now during the last big RV show on a huge selection of new and used RVs, ATVs, UTVs, boats, and motorcycles. They got the 21-foot travel trailer special starting at $999, 5 and new fifth wheels that are up to 35% off. Best thing about it, at Breeden, everything new comes with Breeden RV's exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. Start a new adventure at BreedenRV.com. Our Cherokee Casino hotline is open if you want to talk about the Arkansas quarterback situation. I'm not ready to call it a controversy yet. We'll see what happens next Saturday at Kentucky, because if Nick Starkel is healthy and ready to go, he's the guy. But I think you make a good point, Ty. If Starkel continues to have troubles throwing interceptions inside the red zone, and if he's ineffective, you got a guy that came off the bench against Texas A&M that looked awfully good. His name is Ben Hicks. 877-377-6963 to get with us. We'll be back right after this break on ESPN Arkansas.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
John, I love your passion, but I don't know what you're drinking this morning. Get rid of it. Tommy, drug test this guy. I don't know if that's a policy at the radio station.
It's going to become one.
But legitimately, there's got to be some psychiatric help that will reach out to you, John, and provide it as a service for some free advertising for the radio station.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
What's your more? Maybe it's more days in flip-flops, on a beach, that you own, in the Caymans. Whatever you'd like more of, Mega Millions from the Arkansas Scholarship Lottery can turn those dreams into reality. And the next drawing is for more than $40 million. So go to your local lottery retailer and get your ticket to more today. This is winning. Call 1-800-522-4700 for Problem Gambling Helpline.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from WOW World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional Dish authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recording anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for more details. Or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, or visit us online at shopwownow.com. Get the Hopper 3 today by calling WOW World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. Or online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Is your home secure? No, really. Is your home secure? Do you just ignore the dog yapping, roll over, and go back to sleep? Guardtronic, the oldest alarm company in Arkansas, can make sure you sleep soundly. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic will make sure your home or business is protected against fire and burglary. How much do you have to lose? Call us at 785-2323 for a free quote before the bad guys make a call on you. Or visit Guardtronic.com. License E050.
This is Mark Hurst. It's back to school time for our kids and teachers, and for a lot of our families, including mine, back to school means back to a routine. At Hurst Family Dental Care, we recommend a routine when it comes to your dental cleanings. For a lot of us, routine cleanings are included at no additional charge through our dental insurance, but often we get out of the routine of taking advantage of that benefit. Call our office today at 474-1972 to set up your routine cleaning. Hurst Family Dental Care, a name you know and a name you can trust.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
ESPN 95.3.
Touchdown!
Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Out of the shotgun now as Cornelius comes into the backfield here for second and goal, and they give him the ball. Cornelius scores it! What a call!
Check out some of these statistics from Arkansas's game against Texas A&M this last Saturday. And this was all about the defensive line, which, if you listened to our show yesterday on our 3-up, 3-down, the defensive line play was one of my ups, and it was most definitely a way down the week before against San Jose State, in which the D-line was quite unproductive. The defensive line was anything but unproductive against Texas A&M, as they came up with 20 tackles. 6 of them were for lost yardage, 4 sacks, and a couple of forced fumbles. Gabe Richardson, a big game, 5 tackles, 1 of them for a loss, forced a fumble. Jamario Bell with 2 sacks. McTelvin Agim also a sack, a couple of solo tackles. But T.J. Smith had a nice game as well. 2 total tackles, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble, and was getting double-teamed quite a bit. So T.J. Smith named to the Professional Football Focus Team of the Week for his performance. And I guess that shouldn't be too much of a surprise, the way that he did play. I didn't see what his PFF score was, Ty, but I'm assuming it was pretty high.
And I think it was the highest on the Arkansas defensive front, Phil, and not just the defensive front, but the team overall, if I remember that correctly.
I know defensively the PFF scores were the worst for Arkansas's secondary, but the front 4 were very, very good, and that's got to be. I mean, if you were to take one thing from Saturday's game as a positive defensively, it's that the defensive line generated a nice pass rush, did force Kellen Mond to scramble a little bit. Of course, they had trouble bringing him down at times, though, and this is a good thing moving forward, because you've got this young group on the defensive line. Getting Jamario Bell back a couple of weeks ago, huge. Maybe he wasn't necessarily ready to go against San Jose State, but he certainly looked it against the Aggies. Colin Clay getting a lot of playing time, and Isaiah Nichols got out there as well. But T.J. Smith on the PFF Team of the Week. McTelvin Agim is going to get most of the attention. And so somebody else is going to have to step up and get an opportunity to make plays, and that apparently did happen against the Aggies.
Yeah, so far Arkansas is tied for 14th in the country with 15 sacks. If you remember last year and parts of this year as well, you think back to the Ole Miss game, San Jose State, they haven't necessarily got the most pressure on the quarterback. And I think with a young secondary and a secondary that's been tired at a lot of times this season, it's important for some of these young guys not only to accumulate stats but gain some confidence, Phil, because hopefully that will propel them to keep that confidence and keep it up in the near future and the distant future when it comes to this Arkansas defensive line. And I think just having a defense that has forced a decent amount of turnovers. I mean, 3 touchdowns for the defense this year? I mean, that's pretty solid, man. That's a lot better than it was last year. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this defense is far and away better when they were last year, because they've still been inconsistent, but at least you're getting more of what you thought you were going to with John Chavis's group heading into year number 2.
Also a much more aggressive approach by Chavis, it seemed, on Saturday. They blitzed a lot. You had the numbers up yesterday on our rundown for the percentage of plays that they blitzed. And it never dialed one up against San Jose State, almost expecting that your front 4 would generate the pass rush against the Spartans. That never happened, and dialed up a lot of blitzes against the Aggies, which I would assume moving forward, now that you're playing, you only have one non-conference game left, so theoretically you're not going to physically overmatch any more of your opponents. And quite honestly, it might be the other way around more often than not now. But this is a team that seemed, I mean, when they were blitzing against Ole Miss, things looked okay. Against Colorado State, a little blitzing, that looked good. You wonder what happened against San Jose State. Where were the blitzes? But that's the calling card of John Chavis's defense. You saw it against the Aggies. You got to see this the rest of the season.
I would think so as well. And if you look at how many times Kellen Mond was under pressure, it was a lot. I want to say 22 was the correct number of pressures he faced in that football game compared to only 11 they put on against San Jose State, which is just an interesting thing because you think, oh, Texas A&M, tougher offense, better football team, better offensive line, harder to get to the quarterback. But some motivation came out of that San Jose game from a defensive perspective where they're like, we have to be able to force some turnovers, get after the quarterback in order for Arkansas to have a chance in this football game. They gave the offensive chance. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, but at least there's some positive signs that you can take out. Again, we're not trying to play the moral victory card. We're just telling you what the defense did in that football game. And the fact is, they played better defensively than probably Texas A&M did in that football game. A&M just came up with a big stop at the end, Phil.
I'm not going to go the moral victory route anymore. I don't know if that really does exist. Maybe you just feel better about one game over another, and part of it is because of the way that a certain unit can play. If you get that performance from your defense against a Kentucky team that's going to be on their third string quarterback potentially, then good things are going to happen. Text line is open, 877-377-6963 to get with us. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline. Hog Fins in Alma asked if Starkel had not come to Arkansas and this was still Ben Hicks' team, do you think that with the lackluster start you'd have seen KJ or John Stephen Jones put in there? And I would assume perhaps, but I also think Hicks would have had a longer rope to hang himself with in the Portland State game, and I have a feeling that they would have probably stuck with him a lot longer than they did than just the game and a half that they got. But I don't know what happened with Hicks, coming off the bench against Texas A&M. It just looked like a completely different quarterback, Ty, a guy that, honestly, it looked like he had more arm strength, more accuracy, he was more comfortable, and the rest of the offense was more comfortable with him in there. And they didn't look like that at all in the first 6 quarters he played.
Here's what Ben Hicks said about his mentality heading into that football game when Starkel got injured.
This is the last chance I got. You know what I'm saying? I don't have. These last few games are the last opportunities I had to play college football. So I'm gonna be ready as I can be each and every week. And when my time comes, I'm just gonna go out there and cut it loose and get after it. And that's what I did today. So that's what I'll do going forward.
Phil, here's a guy that could have mailed it in. He could have mailed it in on the season, could have not paid attention, not given a crap about film, not tried to get better with his wide receivers, get the chemistry going. But you can tell he was ready to go in. And when Starkel goes down, there was a collective groan from the Arkansas fan base because prior to that point, you hadn't seen a lot out of Ben Hicks. But I think he showed you something in that football game in a neutral site in a game that Arkansas still has not won since 2011 that gave you hope that they were going to win. I know there was a lot of pessimistic Arkansas fans in that game, watching that game, and you're right, the Hawks ended up losing, but it wasn't because of Ben Hicks. You can say that. And I think a lot of fans heading into that moment before he stepped on the football field thought the game was over, not just because the score at that point, because the fact that they thought Ben Hicks was going in and there was no chance for them to come back. He showed you something in that football game. Had a little moxie, had a little tenacity, and you got to be happy about that because not all quarterbacks would show you that, Phil.
Well, he had that poo-poo lip going on, when he in the third game of the season when he's on the sideline and they showed him Colorado State game and Starkel's got that fireball start in the first quarter and then had the great fourth quarter. You could see Hicks on the sideline just didn't look very happy. It's not like you expect him to have that happy face or anything, but obviously this was somebody that prepared as if he expected to come in and play at some point and kept his kept his best face on. But again, I don't think I saw his best face. I thought I saw somebody there that felt usurped, that felt like maybe he wasn't given the full opportunity to show what he could do. And then again, you go out there coming off the bench, cold practically. You didn't prepare as the first quarterback for the whole week, and you go out and you put together a performance that that look better than Nick Starkel did. Transport yourself as a Razorback fan to what's going on at Kentucky now. They're coming off this, in their eyes, historic 10-win season. But they're down to a third quarterback. So if you're going to figure, goodness, the season's lost, that's one team that could start thinking it. If you're an Arkansas fan, and most of you are that are listening right now here on Halftime, again, maybe you don't win an SEC game again for the rest of the season. Who knows? But it's not going to be based upon the fact that you don't have faith in who the quarterback is right now, because I still think Nick Starkel is the guy that can lead this program to some wins this season and next year. But it also looked like Ben Hicks is a guy that could do the exact same thing given the right circumstances and the fact that the rest of the team's got to play well. Quarterback right now is not a weakness on this team, not first string or second string. Goodness, was it a weakness last year, but there are other weaknesses to try to cover up. Quarterback isn't one of them.
And I know we're coming up on our break, and we're going to get to Nikki Chavanel of Rivals on the other side. But one more point that I'll make before we get out of here is the fact that it helped Ben Hicks a lot that Texas A&M probably did not watch a lot of tape on him. I'm assuming that they spent probably 90+% on Nick Starkel. Now, I don't know that. I don't have any insight into that. I'm just taking my guess here, throwing this out there, that there probably wasn't a ton of Mike Elko's time that he spent with his defense watching Ben Hicks. I'm curious to see, first of all, if Starkel gets the start based on his health, not on if Chad Morris chooses or not, but for Ben Hicks, if he is indeed the starter announced early next week, does the fact that Kentucky has all week to prepare for him and him alone help or hurt his performance heading into Lexington on Saturday?
And if you're Nick Starkel and you got the rest of the week to heal, get your cryotherapy, get your bandages on whichever way they got to go. If you're going to be a fast healer, now's the time, because Arkansas has got to feel a little bit better about the backup quarterback, and who knows, maybe he's not the backup quarterback next week. Nikki Chavanel from Rivals.com coming on to join us next. We'll talk with the recruiting expert and also get her thoughts on Arkansas's game against Texas A&M. Halftime continues after the break on ESPN Arkansas and HitThatLine.com.
Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Fresh means fresh, as in no preservatives. That's right. If it's fresh, it doesn't need to be preserved. Try Jim's 100% premium Wisconsin cheese. Fresh whole milk mozzarella, wood smoked provolone, old world style Romano and Parmesan. The freshest all-you-can-eat salad bar in town. No preservatives and fresh every time. Fresh, fast, Jim's Razorback Pizza. At the corner of Greenwood and Gary in Fort Smith.
When the temperature starts heating up outside, it means summer is on its way. Let Pinnacle Telecom ease the heat with a brand new Name Your Speed promotion. That's right. Switch your business to Pinnacle's fast fiber internet and name your internet speed. Any speed, and pay just $50 per month for internet the first 3 months. If you're under contract with the other guys, no problem. Pinnacle will honor this promotion when your term is up. Check us out at pinnacletelecom.com. Offer ends soon. Some restrictions apply.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Look your best with professional Perfecto Cleaners at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Count on same-day service, easy drive-through cover drop-off and pickup window, and fast turnaround on alterations. Perfecto Cleaners always goes the extra mile to ensure your clothes look their best, making you look your best. Be sure to clip their coupons in the yellow pages, and as always, in by 9 and out by 5 Monday through Friday. Perfecto Cleaners, just off Jenny Lind at the bottom of Fiena Hills. Perfecto Cleaners, making you look your best.
Do you own apartment complexes, condos, and rental property? Then you have made a great investment. Now make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily offers full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, and all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and frustrations out of ownership and call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Out of the shotgun now as Cornelius comes into the backfield here for second and goal. And they give him the ball. Cornelius scores it. What a call.
It's Tuesday. It's the middle of the first hour here on Halftime. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson, and ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. And this usually means we go to Nikki Chavanel, who's joined us right now on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Nikki out of Rivals. Nikki, how's it going?
I'm fantastic. Do I sound better?
You sound a lot better. You're over the flu bug. Congratulations. How long did it take you?
Oh, it was almost like 2 weeks. I finally went for a run today. I feel so much better.
You know you're healthy again once you finally can get out there in the 90-degree heat and go a few miles. So congratulations. And I know you were still at the game this last Saturday, covering it as sick as you might have felt.
I actually didn't go last minute. Decided not to go because I didn't feel well enough. Did my periscopes from the couch. But
well, that's part of the great things of being alive in today's society, that you can still cover it without being there, and still see everything that you need to see without being in the locker room necessarily. So, do you ever go the moral victory route? That was a question we asked yesterday, and I don't really allow the thought of a moral victory. It's just some losses make you feel a little worse than others, I would say, and some wins make you feel worse than others or better than others. I would just kind of put last week's game against Texas A&M as changing the trajectory that you felt like you were going on after the San Jose State game. But where's your thought on moral victories and where you would place last Saturday's game into that category?
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at this game in 10 years, you're not going to think of it as a moral victory. You're going to check the score and see, oh, they lost another one, right? So it's not so much that, but it is great that they put up some fight. It makes you a little bit more hopeful that they'll be competitive in more SEC games this season, and they have to be. I think they need to win at least one just to show that Chad Morris can do it with his staff. So I liked the effort that we saw. Just unfortunate that Arkansas can never seem to pull it out at the end.
So the defensive line was a topic that Ty and I got into in the last segment, and it looked like that was probably the best area of play for Arkansas, maybe on both sides of the ball, but you had a feeling like there was a pretty wide chasm between the play of your defensive line and the play of the secondary. What did you get a sense of watching?
So I knew that A&M's offensive line wasn't that good, but I wasn't sure if it was just going to be, that way against, the Clemson and the Auburn. But clearly they do have some issues over there, and so Arkansas was able to put a lot of pressure with their defensive line and also their linebackers. But then, kind of like what we've seen for most of the season, the secondary just kind of gives up a lot, whatever Kellen Mond really wanted in that game. And I do think that's part of John Chavis's defense. You want to bring more pressure and bend a little bit without breaking, but I think they just broke a little bit too much. And you see a lot of guys when you check out their Pro Football Focus, like if you look at the number of targets against them defensively, a lot of them gave up every single pass that came their way. So that's not good. I don't know what you need to change to fix that. But and then there were a couple times like Bumper Pool had one good stop, but then he got called for a little bit of pass interference and those kinds of things. It's, you know, the refs missed a call against a guy on Tyson Morris, right? So it's just kind of what the refs see.
Talking with Nikki Chavanel of Rivals.com here on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Nikki, one of the questions we've been asked a lot this season is KJ Jefferson going to see any time? He hadn't got on the field yet. I know you and Hutch just did a great diagram of the red shirts that have been burned so far in the games that have been played by some of these freshmen. If you had to put money on it, do you think he sees a game or do you think he doesn't see a game at this point of the season or later in the season, Nikki?
You know, I haven't been keeping up with Western Kentucky season so far too much, but I'm just going to lean towards no. I don't really think you need to play him, and of course everyone wants to see what he could do, but the coaches have seen him more in practice, and from what I've seen, he's raw. He doesn't throw the most accurate pass, so I think it's fine that he just, you know, takes a little bit time to get more time to get better. I think fans are just a little impatient. They always want something better, and they think it's waiting on the bench, but usually that's not the case.
So Greg Brooks, Mateo Soli, and Ricky Stromberg, they've all played in 5 games this season. They're all true freshmen. Looking at those 3 guys, Nikki, which one are you most surprised at that's had the most significant playing time?
Well, I'd say Ricky Stromberg. I mean, I knew that he was a lot better from his junior to senior year in high school, but I didn't know that he would be able to come in and start as a true freshman on the offensive line. But I think that goes to tell you a little bit about the depth that they have there, which is not much in terms of quality. But he has been one of the best graded, and I think that he has a pretty complete game, both run blocking and pass blocking. So I really am impressed with him. Greg Brooks, I mean, he shows flashes, but he gets picked on a lot, and I think he'll have some mental lapses that he needs to work out, but he's young, so nothing to really worry about there, and he's clearly the best option they have. And Mateo Soli, man, I wish he didn't have that cast on his arm because I think he'd be even better than he is right now, but always knew he was going to be really great and probably early.
Nikki Chavanel joining us from Rivals.com right now. Nikki, the main thing, we looked at the box score and we were just watching the game, not even just watching this last game, but the entire season so far. Arkansas's got a problem inside the 20-yard line. Scored 2 touchdowns on 4 trips. I saw, Hutch had made a point of this on Hogbeat the other day that I think they're 6th worst in the country in red zone offense, scoring just 65% of the time. That's lowest in the SEC and 124 out of 130 FBS teams. And the field shrinks obviously when you get inside the 20, and that can make things a little bit tougher. But is there anything you're picking up on that they're struggling on in the inside that 20? Because this right now for me that can be the huge difference between a win and a loss.
I wish I had more answers. If so, I'd probably just join the staff, right? But I feel like they just need to try throwing it more on first and second down. I don't think they're going to get too much in the run game there, but I did like that play that they had with Debois Whaley when he scored the other day. He ran it outside. I just don't think you're going to be able to run it in between blocks around the red zone. I think they're going to have to try throwing it more often.
All right, so what's going on in recruiting this week? Any updates, any news? I know they just offered a new offensive lineman out of Magnolia. What other updates do you have out of recruiting?
Yeah, they're going to take this week and dish out some more offers, watch a bunch of tape, because there's, kind of a evaluation process that recruits have to go through multiple levels of approval before you get to Chad Morris. They're going to be sending a lot more of those to the assistant coaches and then to Chad Morris for approval, their huddle tapes. So we'll see a bunch more offers probably this week, and the coaches will hit the road on Friday, but they were out at a bunch of high school games in the Dallas area for a bunch of their commits and then some younger prospects as well. It's a really slow time right now. I don't think they're emphasizing recruiting as heavily as, trying to win games. But in a couple weeks when Auburn comes to Fayetteville, that's when they're trying to close some stuff with guys like Bryson Eason and Brady Ward, who is an Alabama offensive lineman. They still need a few guys in the secondary, another linebacker, at least one or two defensive tackles, an offensive tackle. So there's still plenty to do. I just think that right now they're very focused on maybe, sending out offers to younger guys so it's not, a pressure situation. And then they'll work on finishing the 2021 or the 2020 class in a few weeks.
Real quick, Nikki, because we're coming up on the break in about a minute, so in about 30 seconds or less, something that you just mentioned stands out to me. Do you think that the coaching staff is paying less attention to recruiting this year at this time than 12 months ago?
I do think so. They're sending less coaches out on the road. I think they want the perception to be that they're putting more effort into winning ball games because they know that it's kind of, you can't have one without the other at this point. You can't continue to sell a dream without results. Yeah. So they need to get some wins first.
All right, Nikki, thanks a lot. Good to hear a happy voice from you, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk again in 7 days.
Thanks, guys.
You got it. You could hear it in her voice, Ty, right? That was the sound of a picture of health.
Happier. Definitely happier, Nikki. Makes us happier as well, Phil.
There is no such thing as somebody who's happy on the flu. We're happy to take a break. We'll come back. Got a little update on baseball playoffs that are starting today with a wild card game in the National League. It's ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Good coaches win. Great coaches cover. You're listening to Halftime.
Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
Spring is in the air. Not in the house, Dalton. Okay, AJ. Aw, snap, I told you not in the house. Red Kool-Aid all over the white carpet. Mom and Dad are gonna... Okay, AJ. I can't believe it. We're so in trouble. I told you so.
Thank you for calling Service Master Clean. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Tanya, it's Dalton. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. Think Service Master Clean. Visit us online at smcleanonline.com.
Got a mystery stain on the carpet and the kids insist they don't know what it is? Or you're just ready to give the house a good spring cleaning? Call Service Master Clean at 646-4087. Call today for spring specials.
Service Master Clean. For the clean you expect and the service you deserve. It's okay, AJ.
Tri-Hill Turf offers the highest quality turf and pest services. Hey, you say those are big words. Well, let's see. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has a company agronomist, state and nationally certified technicians, free soil testing, and they even have precision GPS guided application equipment. Now that's high tech. For over 30 years, Tri-Hill Turf and Pest has used the latest application technology, and they strive for turf and pest excellence. They are your local turf and pest experts. Call the local team at 782-0404. Tri-Hill Turf and Pest.
Hey, Fort Smith, the Hampton Inn by Hilton was ranked in the top 10 Hampton hotels in the U.S., and their devotion to top-notch hospitality shows. With complimentary Wi-Fi, a free hot breakfast, and all of the bells and whistles you would expect, this newly renovated hotel has it all. They offer Hilton's digital key technology, meeting spaces, an indoor pool, and sports court. Hampton Inn by Hilton gives you everything you need for business or leisure travel. Give them a call at 479-452-2000 and see for yourself why the Hampton Inn is Fort Smith's best hotel.
FMLA, FLSA, ACA.
It's harder than ever for businesses to keep up with today's evolving alphabet soup of regulations. What's a company to do? Kronos. With Kronos, you can minimize compliance risk and track HR policies, making sure they are applied consistently and fairly. HR, payroll, talent, and timekeeping in one unified system, all with a proven implementation approach and simplified, transparent pricing. Learn more at kronos.com/compliance. Kronos, workforce innovation that works.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Football's out. Razorbacks have picked it up. We're headed back the other way. Picked up by Cam Curl. He's still got the football. Curl's all the way. He's going to the house. Touchdown, Arkansas.
Got Get Off My Lawn coming up in the next segment, so get your Get Off My Lawns ready to go. And let us know about those in the next hour. Our Cherokee Casino hotline, 877-377-6963. It's halftime. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson. And we appreciate you tuning in here in the 1st of October. And I'm pretty sure, Ty, that last year I had been talking openly about October being my favorite month for sports.
That is correct.
You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a month into the show. And really everything is everything not in full swing because the NBA and the NHL get going soon.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really talk too much about those two sports on this show. But that doesn't mean that a lot of other people aren't paying attention to it. So it feels like it's the only month where all 4 of the major team sports, the professional sports, are underway. And, of course, you got the NFL season beginning to round into form. The college football season is taking shape. One thing you love about college football season is now, for the most part, Ty, the games of really good teams against totally overmatched opponents are done. You don't have too many FCS opponents on the schedule for SEC teams. I know that Auburn plays Samford later on. Alabama's got Western Carolina. Mississippi State plays Abilene Christian, but those are all in the second to last week of the season. For the most part now, in October, it's SEC versus SEC. Big Ten versus Big Ten, so on and so forth. So this is really where you get a sense of how the college football landscape will look. And then there's baseball. And baseball can be a little bit difficult to keep paying attention to throughout the entire regular season, especially if you don't feel like you got a dog in the fight. Last week I'd kind of openly given up on my Pittsburgh Pirates, and they showed me more reason to not care about them when Bob Nutting, the owner who never shows his face in public and never speaks in public, announced that while they were firing Clint Hurdle as the manager, going to keep Neil Huntington, the general manager, the guy that built the ship that couldn't even float, is sticking on as the GM. So for me, I think it's difficult when you don't have a connection to Major League Baseball to pay very close attention to it. And for years, my time with the Travelers, so they were an Angels affiliate. And when you're doing minor league baseball, Major League Baseball is always part of the story. In college baseball, and we pay attention to how some of the Pro Hogs are doing this and that, but I'm a Pirates fan. The Pirates suck, and so it's awfully difficult to stay tuned for 162 games. So I love the baseball playoffs. October, here it is. And you've got your well, it used to be 8, and now you got 10 in the postseason. And whatever you think about the way the wild card is constructed, how a 162-game season now comes down to one game for the 4 teams that were good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win a division. And it starts tonight with Milwaukee and Washington, and then moves tomorrow to the two teams that have the excuse built in to stink every year, but they just can't seem to stink, the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays. Those, by the way, are the teams that have the two worst ballparks in Major League Baseball, and fans that don't show up very much, but yet they still win games. Something about that. I don't know. They just know what they're doing. Milwaukee came in with expectations this year after winning the NL Central, and amazingly, this team, Ty, was able to continue winning even though they lost their best player, Christian Yelich, to an injury. And he's been out, but they've just continued to win. Washington, remember, this is a team that decided to not re-sign Bryce Harper, let him move over to the Phillies, and they just kept going. Now, they stunk at the start of the season. I don't remember exactly what their record was, but I think like a month and a half into the season, they were in dead last place in the National League East, and somehow figured it out. So they were 19-31 on May 23rd. That's Washington. 8.5 games out of a postseason spot, and then post one of the best records in baseball from that point forward. And then Milwaukee's won 12 of first 14 games without Yelich. So this ought to be a good one. The winner gets to move on and play against the top-seeded Los Angeles Dodgers. The loser figures what could have been and starts planning for next season. Tampa Bay and the A's have the happiness of getting to face what to me looks like an unbeatable team in the American League, the Houston Astros. So, and the two teams that I'm looking at here, and it's too simplistic to say you're going to get a rematch of last year's the World Series from a couple of years ago of Houston and L.A. I like the Braves. I think the Braves with their pitching, their bullpen in better shape than most of the others. I think they survived that first-round series against St. Louis.
You're upsetting a lot of Cardinal country here, Phil.
Well, that's partially my job, is to upset Cardinals fans. It's one of the four teams that I would refuse to log on to as my team. They're just not. It's not going to happen. So I go with the Braves in the National League. I'll go with the Astros in the American League. The Yankees-Twins matchup is good luck stopping anybody from scoring in that one. I mean, these two teams both hit over 300 homers. And pretty amazing. I'd like to see the Minnesota Twins get to the World Series as a team that felt like it came out of nowhere, has former Arkansas pitching coach Wes Johnson leading the pitching staff. But I don't know if I see them getting past the New York Yankees with the Yanks getting home field advantage. But it's October 1st. The baseball playoffs are underway, and I'll be watching, and I think we'll be talking about it. We haven't really talked much Major League Baseball for the last few months, Ty.
Justin and Van Buren texted in on our Cherokee Casino hotline, and I'm assuming this is referring to Jack Buck, right, Phil?
No, he's saying
I wasn't gonna.
Bucktober. The Pirates are the Bucks. That's a nickname for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay. So yeah, what is Justin and Van Buren a Pirates fan, or do I actually know another person who's a Pirates fan on our listening audience? There's so many Cardinals fans out there. But I said, from the start, and look, I respect how the Cardinals run their organization. If you pay attention to baseball and you don't at least have respect for how St. Louis does things, then you aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
But I can't root for them. That's the difference.
That's fair. I mean, there's the fans that are like the Cardinal way. I know that I have a number of St. Louis Cardinals friends that are fans of the Cardinals, and they have this Cardinal way mentality, which is just kind of annoying every once in a while. But I'm curious to see if they end up making it to the NLCS and if they once again kill the Los Angeles Dodgers, because that's been a thorn, and not really a thorn in the Dodgers side, but a giant gaping wooden stick that has just been poked in their side over and over again. I think that would be an incredible series. Phil, I meant to ask, have we ever had, or how recent has this been, a Yankees-Cardinals series? Because I feel like those are two different, distinct fan bases that would be quite a World Series, and I think that would get great ratings. But I don't.
Honestly, I don't think there's been a St. Louis-New York World Series. I know not in my lifetime, and you'd have to go back a long ways, maybe into the 40s, perhaps. I think there might have been a St. Louis Yankees World Series in the 40s. But you're going to force me to go to Baseball Reference and figure it out now, because now it's just crushing my brain.
I think another series, and obviously for television ratings, it would be incredible, would be the Dodgers taking on the Yankees. I know we had the Red Sox and the Dodgers at one point. I mean, that was really good for TV ratings. It just doesn't have, and they tried to tie in Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, and they tried to tie in Tom Brady and stuff. It just didn't have the same appeal, and maybe that's just because I wasn't as into baseball, but the rivalry didn't feel as unique as the Lakers and Celtics going at it. But I think an L.A.-New York series would be fun. But I'd be really, and I'm not a fan of the Cardinals, and I'm not a fan of the Yankees, but I know there's a lot of people around here that are fans of both teams. I think that would be a unique series, two different fan bases, two different organizations that do go about things a different way, and I think it would just be good for baseball itself. But, I mean, you're looking at these right now. There's a bunch of storylines that you could say, oh, that would be a great World Series. Oh, that would be a great World Series. I think as long as it's not like the Brewers versus the Rays in the World Series, I think the MLB is going to be okay.
That's one that would, as you say, TV sets would turn off. I don't even know if TV sets would turn on.
Because you don't even have, and I'm blanking on his name, the stud that plays for the Brewers.
Yelich, that's right.
Yelich is out for the season. I can't even name you a Tampa Ray. I know Longoria used to play for him. I don't think he plays for him now, right? Or does he still?
No, Longoria moved on to San Francisco. So here's the last Yankees-Cardinals World Series tie. 1964. The St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series in 7 games with Bob Gibson winning the MVP. Some really great players in that series. Lou Brock for the Cardinals. Mike Shannon, who's on radio for the Cardinals, was their right fielder. The 64 Yankees, that was like the last gasp of the Mickey Mantle-led Yankees, and it wasn't too soon after that they were a last-place team. So, 1964, who knows? That's one that I think TV sets would stay on for.
So, Phil, who are you taking? I know we only got about a minute left. Who are you taking tonight, Brewers or Nationals?
So, I'm going to go with the Nationals because of Max Scherzer. I'm going to go with Max Scherzer over Milwaukee, over Milwaukee. That's what I'm sticking with, and I think you can't go wrong with Max Scherzer, even though he hasn't really been the same since the injury this year to his lower back. But I think he's going to go out there, give a really good start. Scherzer in the postseason, tough to beat, especially in a one-game winner-takes-all to move on to the next round. Our next round coming up after the break. We're going to get off my lawn on a Tuesday on halftime. If you got one for us, 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. And you're listening to Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
The Catfish Kitchen at the top of Logtown Hill in Van Buren has lunch specials every weekday from 11 till 2, starting at only $7.99. Try the 3-piece catfish filet dinner with hand-cut fries and all the fixins. It's only $11.29. And the Catfish Kitchen is more than catfish. Try their shrimp dinners, cooked any way you like it. Chicken tenders, crab cakes, or one of their po' boy sandwiches. The Catfish Kitchen, open Tuesday through Sunday 11 till 9 at 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Fall has arrived. Back to school, football games, hunting season, and we know that you don't have the time to deal with an auto accident. Let Evans Body Shop help you through the process from beginning to end. Our caring office staff will take care of the insurance details, and our dedicated shop crew will make sure that your vehicle is repaired properly and beautifully, and that you are back on the road in no time. Come meet us today and see why we say we meet the nicest people by accident. Visit with us at 412 Gordon Avenue in Van Buren, just off Fayetteville Road.
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
FMLA, FLSA, ACA.
It's harder than ever for businesses to keep up with today's evolving alphabet soup of regulations. What's a company to do? Kronos. With Kronos, you can minimize compliance risk and track HR policies, making sure they are applied consistently and fairly. HR, payroll, talent, and timekeeping in one unified system, all with a proven implementation approach and simplified, transparent pricing. Learn more at kronos.com/compliance. Kronos, workforce innovation that works.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs,
the scare capital of Arkansas.
3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival number 9 in 3D.
Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark.
Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mainly clear sky, and overnight low will drop down into the upper 60s. A whole lot of sunshine on Tuesday, our high upper 80s to low 90s. Wednesday, sun-filled skies are high into the low 90s. Could see a shower or storm Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Good station.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is Halftime, coming at you from the Bush and Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas. I love everything here. Give me that thing here. Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
hitthatline.com.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Second hour on a Tuesday. Welcome back inside our studios. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson. We've got some things to get off our lawn. If you want to have something off your lawn, let us know what it is. 877-377-6963. We can be your lawnmower to get something off your lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Listen, old man.
Do not your what?
Announce my presence with authority.
Perhaps I could be of some assistance.
The old man.
Get off my lawn. Presented by Breeden RV and Power Sports.
Still got the last big RV show of the year going on at Breeden RV in Van Buren. A chance to save thousands on a huge selection of new and used RVs, ATVs, UTVs, boats, and motorcycles. Ask about the Deer Hunter Special, the new 21-foot travel trailer starting at $999.5, and new fifth wheels up to 35% off. Best part about it, everything new comes with Breeden RV's exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. Start a new adventure at BreedenRVs.com. Speaking of get off my lawn, when I got back from the Berg last night late, I could not go back to sleep. I almost put on Gran Torino.
Did you really?
Almost put it on. But I figured a 2-hour movie wouldn't be right for me to go to sleep, so instead I put on Ken Burns' The Civil War, the first hour of the documentary, and that put me to sleep. So I guess it's all a matter of what you needed to go to sleep and not necessarily something that I needed to get off of my lawn. Bruce from Fort Smith has a get off my lawn. He says those who text and drive get off my lawn. I guess you could certainly agree with that, and I will assume since Bruce sent us a text on the text line, he wasn't driving at that moment either. So, all right, my get off my lawn here, and I mean, it's a product of today's society. We all collectively, maybe not all individually, but collectively, are just a little bit too sensitive about things that really there's nothing to be sensitive about. Now, it's not a catch-all statement that when you say, hey, be careful, it was just a joke, don't take offense to it. That's not really always going to get you out of somebody feeling like you said something nasty about them, or that you've got a problem with that person or a problem with a certain group of people. But when you look at what North Carolina Tar Heels game department did during their game against Clemson in Chapel Hill on Saturday, you just wonder about why fan bases as a whole feel like they're being insulted, when more than anything you're just getting a jab in the ribs. Somebody's having fun with you. And for me, this is different than than Texas getting all up in horns about the horns down thing. That's a ridiculous one, and we've gotten into that on Get Off My Lawn, I think at least once or twice. But Clemson's fan base ought to have a little more of a Teflon skin, especially when all you ever have to do, especially to just about any other program in the ACC now, is say what would be the equivalent for the looking at a string of successful seasons with a couple of national championships. You know what you could say to a fan that's standing next to you that's making fun of your team but they're getting crushed, and you just say scoreboard, and that does the trick. What would be what Clemson fans can do or Alabama fans can do if anybody ever makes fun of them in a stadium setting? I guess they can say collegefootballreference.com. Go to that, and you'll figure out exactly why. That probably takes a little bit too long than just saying scoreboard. But, the other thing, too, is it's the same with Alabama fans. There's a lot of Yankees fans. There's a lot of Cowboys fans, Steelers fans, historically. Now, these days, Patriots fans. That, there's a little bit of a bandwagon quality to those fan bases at times. And I think Clemson probably has a few bandwagon fans now, just because they're a fun team and easy to root for many reasons.
Phil J texts in, he says, "Kiss the rings, bleep."
Sure, that one works, and I think somebody would understand what you're saying when you tell them to kiss the rings without the B word before or after it. So during a break in the action in Chapel Hill this past Saturday, the game day department at North Carolina up on the video board had a little fun with some of the many Clemson fans that were in the stadium, and would put a photo of a Clemson fan up on the video board, and then put a little caption underneath that fan on the video board that just made a little bit fun of them, as if they were a bandwagon fan. So one of these captions says about a lady sitting in the stands wearing a number 6 jersey that she thinks that Clemson is in Georgia. Another photo of a fan with a ponytail that says, "Can't name Clemson's last head coach, Tommy Bowden." The other one with a guy wearing a Clemson hat and a Clemson polo shirt says he's also a Patriots fan, which right then and there gives you the idea that they're just making fun of the idea of bandwagon fans. Another shot of a guy with a beard and a Clemson hat that says he thinks the fridge is just a kitchen appliance. Do you know who the fridge is, by the way, Ty, if we could get into a little halftime homework here?
I know is he a linebacker for the Bears?
He was a defensive lineman for the Bears.
Defensive lineman.
William Perry.
William Perry, yeah, the fridge. I watched, I don't know if it was a 30 for 30 or if it was just a quick documentary on him, McMahon. Obviously, man, why am I blanking on one of the most revered coaches in NFL history?
Ditka.
Yeah, Ditka. Mike Ditka. Who's the old DC we were talking about the other week?
Buddy Ryan.
That's it. Yeah, so I've watched a little bit of that. I can't go into a lot of detail about it, but I at least know kind of who they are.
But this good-natured ribbing, which is exactly what it is, set off some Clemson fans. Now, some of them apparently acknowledge this is just good-natured ribbing, and it's the kind of thing that happens from fans' mouths as well during games.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of other Clemson fans apparently sent complaints to UNC athletic director Bubba Cunningham, who felt compelled to issue an apology. He had an apology, a public apology, saying that they want everyone who comes to Chapel Hill to have a positive experience on our campus, whether they're supporters of the Tar Heels or opponents fans, first-time visitors or long-time guests. The video board spot featuring Clemson fans on Saturday was not in that spirit. He continues, "We regret it was produced." They addressed the inappropriateness of the spot with the responsible staff members immediately after it was shown, and they'll continue to address the week in the breakdown and the process that it led to. So if you're the person that came up with this idea, which is tame, said nothing about, them being unwashed or dressing weird. All it said was making jokes at Clemson's expense. That is the truth, that they have bandwagon fans now across the country. All it is good-natured ribbing. I didn't sense a single bit of nastiness in that. And really, the get off my lawn would be for any of the fans that felt like they were being made fun of, really made fun of, and to the North Carolina athletic director, Bubba Cunningham, for feeling that he's got to issue an apology. So pretty please, Get off my lawn.
All right, Phil, my first get off my lawn, and the only one really, is the fact that there are people commenting on Chandler Morris's social media post, including Arkansas's coach has really helped Clemson win a national championship by leaving for SMU. Your dad is a bleep coach. He should do the U of A favor and step down. And I get fans are angry and were frustrated after the San Jose State loss, and some fans were even mad after Texas A&M, which I don't understand that much, considering no one thought you were going to be close in that football game. But the fact that you go to a high school kid's page, social media, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, it's just kind of pathetic. I mean, that's all it is. Like, if you're going to go after someone, go after Chad Morrison. I'm not saying that's right to begin with, but if you really want to let your anger and frustration be known, then tell it to Chad Morris, tell it to the AD, tell it to Hunter Yurachek. But the fact that you're going after the head coach's son, who has not even graduated high school yet, is kind of pathetic. I know there's a lot of Arkansas fans that don't condone that sort of thing, and there's a lot of Arkansas fans that were ticked off at the fans that were commenting on Chandler Morris's stuff, but it's just, there shouldn't be a single fan that does it to begin with, Phil. So I was going through that. There wasn't a lot, but there's a few, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, why would he want to go to Arkansas seeing this? So those fans, they can get off my lawn.
Scott on our text line reminds you that, hey, at least they didn't burn his truck.
That is true.
That's very well said.
Allegedly, yeah. There's a lot of stories that we don't really have time to get into now about who or whom burned down Brandon Allen's truck. Still one of the greatest college football stories of all time. So just
greatest in a really bad way.
Yeah.
In a really bad way. If you got to get off my lawn, you can call us or text us 877-377-6963. That's the Cherokee Casino hotline. We got a couple fans that did text in with a get off my lawn. So as we come up to the break, we'll get right to that in just a moment. Appreciate you tuning in with us on a Tuesday on Halftime. Stick around here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
John, I love your passion, but I don't know what you're drinking this morning. Get rid of it. Tommy, drug test this guy. I don't know if that's a policy at the radio station.
It's going to become one.
But legitimately, there's got to be some psychiatric help that will reach out to you, John, and provide it as a service for some free advertising for the radio station.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Some people will never reach the top. Some will never even try. But anyone with a gall to push their limits knows the reward. Here's an offer that goes further. Get a Yeti Hopper Flip 8 cooler, a nearly $200 value with the purchase of 4 new BF Goodrich mud terrain or all-terrain tires.
Get where you need to be with Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith.
See bfgoodrichtires.com/promo for complete details. Offer expires 10/8/2019. Void where prohibited.
It's cleanup time at Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Podo. Make your best deal of the season on the best-selling economy tractor in Arkansas and Oklahoma, the L2501 Kubota, or increase your productivity with the larger L4701. Need something smaller? Try Kubota's BX or B-Series tractor. Now is your time for savings at Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Podo, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
If you have experience transporting frozen and refrigerated goods and want to be part of a trucking family with insurance and be home every week, you need to contact Brent Higgins Trucking. Since 1997, Brent Higgins Trucking in Mulberry has been proudly delivering to and from various areas of the United States, including but not limited to Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Brent Higgins Trucking, where you're a name, not a number. Call them at 479-997-2366 or log on to BrentHigginsTrucking.com.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Bankroll
Furniture.
Made in the USA Furniture.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Made in the USA Speed Queen Washer and Dryers.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
In-store, no credit check financing.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
0 down and 0 interest with approved credit.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Family owned and no high-pressure sales staff.
Frank Rowe Furniture.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram. 405 Fort Street, Barling, Arkansas. Your Made in the USA headquarters.
Best seats in the house.
Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair is your one-stop shop for all repairs. Paintless Dent Repair, door dings, unsightly dents, and hail damage repair, all repaired to like new conditions. With over 1 million repaired vehicles with satisfied customers, Michael Littleton is the expert in paintless repair. Littleton's Paintless Dent Repair, conveniently located 3 miles from the Arcoma exit off Highway 112. Or call 479-461-9764. Your #1 Arkansas fan.
Do you love crab legs? Then get to the Catfish Kitchen in Van Buren every Tuesday and Saturday night for all you can eat crab legs. Eat all the meaty, delicious crab legs you can hold. Plus all the fixin', coleslaw, beans, and the best hush puppies. Plus your drink, dessert, and ice cream are all included. It's only $44.95. That's all you can eat crab legs every Tuesday and Saturday night from 4 till 8 at the Catfish Kitchen. 727 Fayetteville Road at the top of Logtown Hill, across from the police station in Van Buren.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Whaley, he gets the call, fighting for the goal line. Touchdown, Arkansas! Devwa Whaley goes the final yard as the Hogs march 64 yards in 10 plays to take the lead.
Thanks for tuning in today. Phil Elson, Ty Richardson on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Porter, our friend Porter Hayes, agreed with us on Get Off My Lawn to Clemson's fans, and that's saying something because he is a Clemson fan. In fact, that's Porter's Twitter handle, at Clemson Fan in AR. So we got at least one Tiger fan that's in our pocket. Some other texters have gotten in with us on a Get Off My Lawn, and here's a good one from Aaron in Clarksville. And you know what? I think Aaron's opinion ought to carry some weight, Ty, because the last text that he had sent us was last Friday with a score prediction of a 35-28 loss for Arkansas against Texas A&M. So, I mean, he almost nailed it. I think that's the closest score prediction that I've seen or that I remember from last week. I got the right amount of points that A&M would score. I had them at 35-17, but I didn't think Arkansas would get over 20. Aaron in Clarksville's opinion, for me, carries a little weight. So here's his, why don't you read his Get Off My Lawn, and we'll react to that.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, so Aaron in Clarksville says his Get Off My Lawn is the Fire Chad Morris bandwagon. We are all disappointed. San Jose was a disgusting loss. We all deserve a good football team. He inherited the worst of worst dumpster fires. Second youngest defense in the nation. He will keep recruiting, and we will be relevant with time. That's a lot of hope, Phil, that you don't traditionally hear from some of these Razorback fans, but he's voicing his disapproval for the people that don't seem to be a believer in Chad Morris, and I think there's arguments to both sides. But he said what he thinks.
You know, I felt like there were a lot of folks that jumped off the Chad Morris bandwagon after the loss to San Jose State. It felt more like frustration than reality. And I know that we were questioning the coaching staff's ability to get the team mentally prepared and emotionally ready to go against teams that they should dominate. But it was obvious that they got them prepared and emotionally ready to go out and play a pretty full 4 quarters against Texas A&M. So that's why, gosh, you can't make decisions about coaches the second year of a tenure during the first month. Now, you know, former Arkansas coordinator Chris Ash was shown the door by Rutgers after their blowout loss against Michigan. But I think it's Ash, wasn't it his 3rd year or 4th year as the head coach there at Rutgers, not the 2nd season? And the other thing is, look, they were getting their tails kicked every single game. Not a matter of close here, close there. But, pretty obvious Rutgers wanted to make a change as quickly as they could, and they did. I don't see Arkansas necessarily in that same bent. Ash's fourth year.
Correct.
So, yeah, 4 years. If it's the fourth year of Chad Morris's tenure, and when does Arkansas play UAPB the first time, Ty? Is it next year or the year after? It's one of the next 2 years.
That's a good question.
Let's say it's the fourth year of Chad Morris. You lose to UAPB in September. Sure, jump off the bandwagon. But that's the fourth year. By that time, you got your guys in. You've got your players that are connected to the system, and there's no more ability to blame it on experience or changing from a pro style or a power style to the style that Morris teaches. So, yeah, I think in that case it's different. But for those, I would agree about not get off my lawn, but an idea that, yeah, you're frustrated with the loss to San Jose State. You can question the way the rest of the season will go, but that's not the time for firing somebody. But it did feel like to a lot of our callers, that was a moment for them that they were just like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah,
maybe they still are too. Honestly, maybe they still are even after a loss to Texas A&M, as close as you were, because you still haven't beaten an SEC team yet.
There's no such thing as a fan being done with the coach if that coach turns the season around. Like, let's say Arkansas somehow, some way, this is not going to happen, miraculously got to a bowl game or even got to like 7 wins. I would think, because fans are passionate. Fans often switch sides very often, which is okay. It's a part of fandom. You are very emotional when you're making your decisions, when you support a coach, support a team, and stuff like that. But I would assume that a lot of fans would hop back on the bandwagon if Arkansas made the bowl game. Maybe I'm wrong. And again, that's probably not going to happen. I think John said this morning he thinks it's like 10 to 15% of Arkansas making a bowl game. If I remember that correctly, I would put that in the category based on the fact that they still got to win 4 more games. You hope Western's an easy win, but you don't know what the possibility of playing Ty Story. But you got to get 3 other SEC wins. You're thinking Kentucky, you're thinking Mississippi State, and you're thinking Missouri, because I don't think there's another team on your schedule in this conference you're going to be able to beat. That's a tall task for me, Phil. I don't see it happening, but I think a lot of fans, if it did in fact happen, would be happy to get back on the bandwagon, because I think that Chad Morris he's not exactly the most personality. He doesn't have the most personality. We've been over that. Doesn't have the charisma of a Brett Bielema or a Houston Nutt, but he's not as bad as Bobby Petrino. But he seems, based on his family, based on what you know about him, like a good dude. Arkansas fans want to root for good dudes, and they want their football team to win. So if you get both, that's just like a good. Like you'll take that every day of the week, but you don't know if he just has the good family aspect and if he's actually a really good football coach. You hope that's the case, but you don't know at this point.
No, you'll take the winning over the good dude any day of the week, but it's nice. It's just nice more than anything when those things go together. You know, really more than anything, I think it's just nice. I think that the cult of Bobby Petrino for the 2 years that you had the double-digit victories, to me, proved that Arkansas fans first and foremost want wins. They want to be more than relevant. You know, right now you'd accept relevancy. Back then you're competing for an SEC West championship. You're competing for New Year's 6 bowl games, and you knew if you paid attention, if you read online or you paid attention to what he was like on the sidelines, you knew Bobby Petrino was a really difficult person to root for as a personality, but I just don't really think anybody cared about it. They were just and I understand why, lost in the victories of being a team that was at that point one of the best in the SEC. Paul from the Fort says a bandwagon fan equals love him during the highs, hate him during the lows. So, yes, that's the epitome of being a bandwagon fan. Is a bandwagon fan somebody that stops paying attention when they're doing poorly? You know, I mean, and paying attention and going to games are two different things. I feel like maybe apathy has set in for some fans, but even though your attendance is, lower than it's been in about 18 years, it still feels like Arkansans as a whole, the state as a whole, and the fan base is still at least dialed into what's going on. My thing with the Pirates, for instance, I'm still paying attention, but I'm pretty close to like giving up the ship as far as caring enough to pay attention. I still feel like Arkansas fans care enough to pay attention.
But your Pirates have only been to the playoffs since what, like 2 times in the late 90s? Was that it? And they've been a little bit.
3 wild card berths. In what is it now? Since '92, 25 years. 27 years, really. 27 years, 3 playoff appearances, 4 winning seasons.
So if you had to equate that to bowls, would that be like the Independence Bowl, the Texas Bowl, the Liberty Bowl? It's not like you were given much in those wild card appearances.
Yeah, it's still being in the tournament, though. That's the difference. It's like going to the NCAA tournament still, but getting knocked out in the first or second round.
Okay, so you still have it. I mean, that's the same. You get to a bowl, you get to postseason. But I don't know. I think you have a lot more gripe there with your Pirates, Phil, than Arkansas fans do with the Arkansas football program.
Absolutely.
Because you have 2010, 2011. You could even say a little bit of 2015, even though you lost to Toledo and Texas Tech that year. And I know Patrick Mahomes is what he is now, but you didn't think he was going to be that at the time. And then you can go to 2006, 2002. I mean, there's a 98, even 99 a little bit. I mean, there's a bunch of years that you can look at in the same time period that you've been a Pirates fan that Arkansas fans were a lot happier than you were at the time being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, Phil.
That's true. And the other thing, and this might just be a difference between professional sports and college sports. And we'll say college sports are business. It is big business, but there isn't an owner at the end of it that is looking for a return on investment. There's a board of trustees that knows that success on the football field does equal prestige in other areas, and in a lot of cases equals more students on campus, and therefore means more money on campus, more programs, so on and so forth. A lot of the way that professional sports are built now, with revenue sharing, with giant television contracts, and with internet rights, the Pirates can make money without a single fan ever walking inside that stadium, just because of the way the business model is constructed under Major League Baseball. They don't care about winning. It's been pretty obvious. Otherwise, there'd be more money spent. You'd hold the front office accountable for some of the questionable trades and questionable drafts and a lot of other decisions that have been made. For a college program like Arkansas, the Board of Trustees, to me, quite obviously wants to win. They made a change after Brett Bielema was obviously not the guy to take you back to being relevant. And so if you're a Board of Trustees and you got a team that's gone winless in the conference for 3 straight years, or it's obvious that things are not going in the proper direction, you're going to start over again, sometimes with a brand new athletic director. And that's what the Arkansas Board of Trustees did. They started totally over with a new athletic director, a new football coach. And so you can't put it on the Board of Trustees, who ultimately are at the end are the ones who are responsible for it, that they don't want to win. That's, to me, the difference. I feel like my pro baseball team doesn't care about winning. They're all about making the bottom dollar, and that's it. For Arkansas, look, it's a little tougher to crawl out of the basement where you are in the SEC West in football, but this Board of Trustees, I think they've displayed they want to win. We want to move on to the next segment, so we'll come back after the break. Thanks for tuning in at Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch. St. Louis, Missouri.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shops, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. They have locations in Fort Smith, Mayflower, Jonesboro, Pine Bluff, and Little Rock. Or you can find them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
The weather is hot and the deals are hotter at Hertz Car Sales. Hertz offers a wide selection of high-quality cars, SUVs, or trucks, and amazing customer service where you can buy direct, and save on every car. With inventory arriving daily, why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Proud to serve Fort Smith and the River Valley. Stop by Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
Make Awake Boat Sales and Service is not only where you can get your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat, they also carry a huge selection of bait and tackle. Find whatever floats your boat at Make Awake Bait and Tackle. They carry tons of top brand lines of rods and reels and everything you need to gear up your tackle box, from Strike King, Kitech, and Zoom to Sunline and War Eagle products. Make finding your next Yamaha or Skeeter boat an easy catch with Make Awake Boat Sales and Service in Van Buren, 4806 Alma Highway in Van Buren, and MakeAwakeBoats.com.
Want to do something scary? Really scary? It's Magic Screams at Magic Springs,
the scare capital of Arkansas.
3 haunted attractions, including the new Carnival number 9 in 3D.
Ride wicked thrill rides in the dark.
Plus, fun for kids means family fun by day, fright by night. September 28th through November 3rd. Park opens at noon. Magic Screams at Magic Springs, the scare capital of Arkansas. Buy discount tickets online for big savings.
When the temperature starts heating up outside, it means summer is on its way. Let Pinnacle Telecom ease the heat with a brand new Name Your Speed promotion. That's right. Switch your business to Pinnacle's fast fiber internet and name your internet speed. Any speed, and pay just $50 per month for internet the first 3 months. If you're under contract with the other guys, no problem. Pinnacle will honor this promotion when your term is up. Check us out at pinnacletelecom.com. Offer ends soon. Some restrictions apply.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
And off Hillis. Peyton Hillis being chased but will not be caught. 65-yard touchdown.
Fifth-ranked LSU opens up this week as a 28-point favorite at home against the Utah State Aggies. And the over-under on that game is 72.5. Boy, when was the last time, if ever, that there was a point line that was 72 or anywhere close to that in a game involving the LSU Tigers, Ty? This is the bizarro world. Up is down, left and right. Left is right, good is bad, and LSU is a passing/scoring offense.
Yeah, and I think the question has been asked before the season. Everyone thought it was just going to be Georgia that would be able to compete with Alabama when they met in the SEC championship. But based on the way that Bo Nix has played for Auburn, he hadn't been spectacular as a true freshman, but good enough for them to win, and that defense is just ferocious. And then LSU, what Joe Burrow has brought to that offense in year number 2, and in the addition of Joe Brady, who was formerly the New Orleans Saints, now the passing game coordinator out in the Bayou, I mean, they've just looked incredible from an offensive standpoint, and not the traditional rah-rah run the football, the Leonard Fournettes, the Ridleys of the world and stuff like that pounded down your throat, but spreading you out and using their athletes in space, man. I mean, they have some dudes, and it now seems like their offense is finally getting to use them, and if that offense keeps up, man, the defense stays where it's at, I don't want to say it's going to be competitive in Tuscaloosa because years past would tell me otherwise, but man, I hope it is, because that's going to be a fun football game if it's a barn burner down there in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Well, I'll tell you, LSU does have a pretty tough 3-week period after taking on Utah State this week. They'll host Florida next Saturday, then travel to Starkville, and then really it's going to be the marquee game up until LSU-Alabama, Auburn in Baton Rouge on October the 26th. That screams of a 2:30 CBS game. That's the same week that Arkansas and Alabama meet in Tuscaloosa. But, Auburn and LSU, that's going to be the best game of October in the SEC.
And I think that the head coach of LSU, Ed Ogeron, who is legendary for his getting players pumped up before the games, I think he might have a little something in store for him for that football game. I know they're not weeks out prepping for game hype, but Phil, you mentioned to me this morning you found a story in The Athletic about his tenacity and how he gets players excited for the upcoming football games in a fashion that I don't think there's many other coaches in college football could do the exact same thing.
You know, and pregame and halftime speeches, I think sometimes are just overdone in their meanings. But I think what drives the point home about Orgeron with his players are some of the physical things that he does. You know, dropping F-bombs and screaming until you're red-faced in front of players might have an effect to a point, but don't you think, Ty, there's a little more of an effect when you punch yourself in the jaw and knock out one of your own false teeth? This is a legitimate story from a pregame speech that Orgeron gave his LSU Tigers. Apparently this is the punching himself in the jaw thing is like a weekly thing where he is legitimate. He's ripped off his shirt. He has flexed in front of the team, then punched himself in the jaw, and then flexed again. And it's just why I know Orgeron is a large guy and awfully strong. But don't you think you can feel that the next day? You know, once the adrenaline is gone and once you're past the game and all the emotion of the day is past you, doesn't your jaw hurt just a little bit the next day when you're trying to talk to your family and you realize, I haven't had anything to drink this morning, but for some reason I'm slurring my speech?
Similar to Chad Morris, guy loves him some Red Bulls. And for those who remember Cole Tracy, who is one of LSU's former kickers, he said he loves to smash them on his head, which is just wild to me. I just think the two best pregame speech guys in the history of Arkansas football have to be Houston Dale Nutt and Frank Broyles, correct? And if I'm wrong on that, text in 877-377-6963 to our Cherokee Casino hotline. But those two guys were legendary for their pregame speeches. I mean, the victory will be habitual, one of the greatest quotes that has ever come out of Frank Broyles' mouth. That was postgame, but Houston Dale Nutt was just incredible when it came to delivering a message to his football team. And now you're getting all this insight from former players at LSU. Now he's going about it a different way, but it just seems like that Ed Orgeron is really getting his guys pumped up. And I think a lot of his former players want to stress the fact that they just think that he's not the smartest guy or anything, but his football knowledge based on not just the players but other college football people, it's pretty high up there, but we just don't think of that based on the way that words come out of his mouth, Phil.
So let me read some of these bits from the piece in The Athletic. So talking with Trey Gallman, Michael Ostrom, and John David Moore, and also Cole Tracy, the former kicker, gets in on this. So Gallman says every single Saturday in his pregame speech, he punches himself in the face. Hard as shh, you know, with the word that we can't finish there. So it's legitimate. It's every Saturday. Every single Saturday, 12 times a year, potentially 13, 14, or 15 times a year, depending on how good LSU is, Orgeron punches himself in the face in front of the team. And they ask, you know, Gallman asks, did you hear about when he knocked out his tooth? He still gets fired up like a player. He throws chairs, drinks Red Bull, screams and hollers, bangs guys' chests. The best quote comes from Cole Tracy. Tracy says, have you ever heard the Red Bull story? Basically, he smashes a Red Bull on his head. You're ready to run through a wall. And then he goes on to say, and I'm the field goal kicker.
I love that. I love the addition to I'm the field goal kicker. He knows that he's not really going to be having to hit anyone unless there's a block kick or a kickoff return that might get to him. But that the addition of that is just so great, Phil.
It is. So he takes he has pounded 2 or 3 Red Bulls at a time in front of the team and then smashed the cans on his head. And I don't think he's just smashing them on the side. You know, anybody can take an aluminum can and take it on the side, not the bottom, which is rounded, of course, and a little bit harder from that point. That's where it's reinforced. From the side, smash it on your head, fine. That's, you know, a child can do that. When you take it from the top, smash it on the bottom, on the top of your head, all the way down, that to me, I don't know, that says 2 things. 1, you got a lot of aggression to get out. And 2, you got a seriously hard head. So, I mean, and a lot of these players go on to say, you know, Orgeron is more than just a an emotional coach, more than just someone who fires a team up, more than just a motivator. They also look at him as a football genius. He knows his offensive line stuff, and I know he's been skewered at times for play calling or clock management or being married to the run. But I think he's obviously opening things up now, and Orgeron is showing himself to be a coach that can go with the strength of his team. And that's what makes a great coach, not somebody that's married to his system or married to one certain style of play. And that's the big story right now in the SEC more than anything. It's that LSU, and this is what we got into this segment on, Ty, LSU is not the team that we are used to seeing. Still have what looks like a pretty good defense, but this is a team now that is not built on just good running backs and a good O-line to open up the space and just hopefully have a quarterback that doesn't lose you a game. They've got potentially the best quarterback in the country and a coach that is willing to let him do his thing and at the same time knock his own false tooth out every once in a while.
John in Nashville texted in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He said Ed Orgeron is going to end up in concussion protocol, which if he keeps stone colding Red Bulls on his head, that could be the case, Phil. I mean, that's just an incredible hype thing to get ready. Mike from Fort Smith, when I asked the question, who was the best pregame motivator for Arkansas football history, he brings up Lou Holtz. I haven't seen many of his pregame speeches, and I obviously was not around when he was the coach, but I like listening to him on TV, and I've heard good things about him, though. But it's something about it, gets you hyped for a game, and I'm not saying that's the be-all, end-all for a football coach, but it definitely helps rather than hurts when it comes to getting your team ready for football games. And some coaches do it better than others, Phil.
All right, more halftime coming up after the break. By the way, if you want to talk about two coaches that are ultimately different in the way they look and the way they speak, although maybe it's a little bit difficult to understand what each of them are saying. Lou Holtz and Ed Orgeron, they're total opposites on body style and physique, but they are a little bit the same, and you've got to bend your ear to try to understand exactly what it is they're saying. I don't think you'd ever see Lou Holtz smashing a can on his head.
I would agree with you.
Or punching himself in the face. Nor do I ever think you'd see Ed Orgeron coaching an NFL team and trying to get them to sing a fight song that he wrote just for them. All right, our Cherokee Casino hotline open as we go into our final segment on a new edition of Halftime, 877-377-6963 to get with us. And we invite you to join after the break. Phil Elson and Ty Richardson here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Ty Sports Radio.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Right now, you can save up to $5,000 off on select in-ground pools at Burton Pools and Spas. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. Now is the perfect time to start planning your own backyard oasis for next summer, so you can relax and enjoy the lazy days poolside next year with family and friends. It's the perfect way to unwind after work or do a staycation. And don't make that long trip this next summer. Vacation in your own backyard. Burton Pools and Spas also has luxury spas, grills, and patio furniture that will complete your outdoor your living space. So don't wait. Right now is the time. Save up to $5,000 on select in-ground pools, including saltwater models. It's all at Burton Pools and Spas. This special deal is first come, first served. Stop in their store in Fort Smith and in Springdale for all the details. Fall is the perfect time to start working on your in-ground pool with Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, and online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Doe's Eat Place is the best of the best steakhouse in the River Valley. Award-winning steaks in a great atmosphere is what you will experience every time. Doe's Eat Place offers over 150 selections of wine, including 50 Cabernets, 200 spirits, including 80 whiskeys, bourbons, and scotch, and 75 beers, with 20 different local beers and 50 imported and craft beers. Everything you need for a memorable evening is at Doe's Eat Place, 422 North 3rd in Fort Smith. Open 5 till 9 Monday through Thursday and 5 till 10 Friday and Saturday. Call 784-9111 for reservations.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Hicks going to throw off, play action, back shoulder, end zone, touchdown Arkansas! Mike Woods, 13 yards, and Arkansas grabs the lead.
Halftime today brought to you, as always, by our friends at Breeden RV and Van Buren. Still have the last big RV show of the year going on. A chance to save thousands on a huge selection of new and used RVs, ATVs, UTVs, boats, and motorcycles. There's a 21-foot travel trailer. They call it the Deer Hunter Special. Starts at $999.5, and new fifth wheels up to 35% off. Of course, everything new coming with Breeden RV's exclusive free maintenance for life. That's Breeden RV in Van Buren. Start a new adventure and go to BreedenRVs.com. Ty, here a Naked Gun comeback there, so I guess you're getting set for Thursday's halftime homework.
I am.
I know you started the Naked Gun, but then you had other things to tend to. I can't wait to hear what you think about the baseball scene at the end with the greatest umpire in the history of movies.
Yeah, I'm excited. So this is one of the movies that I think I had on my list before you told me it was my homework assignment. I've heard nothing but good things about it. And what happened was Thursday night, I was watching it, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all these texts from my buddies discussing fantasy football, and I realized that I had to flick it over. No, it might have been Sunday night. It was Thursday or Sunday night, one of the two. I think it was Thursday. And I decided, man, I better just watch this football game. So I flicked it back, and I've held it. So I'm going to resume it either today or tomorrow in order to get ready for halftime homework so I can pass.
Out Cold for me. I got to watch Out Cold sometime in the next 2 nights.
I'd watch, because I don't know where Out Cold's at. I think it was somewhere on my TV. Watch The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. That's more important to.
You had like a paragraph of movies that potentially could be good for me to watch, or was it the other way around? Was it a paragraph of movies that you haven't seen that you know you got to see?
That I haven't seen that you think I would probably need to see. So that was kind of the assignment. But I have a couple TV shows and movies and stuff that we can assign you. But I think you're really going to enjoy The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. It kind of explains the dichotomy, what happened between him, Houston Nutt, Gus Malzahn, and a couple other members of the Arkansas football program at the time.
Well, it's one of the best baseball scenes in movie history. And speaking of baseball, Arkansas baseball was mentioned on D1 Baseball's list of the 100 best programs in the country. Now, this is not a list of the best teams heading into next season. It's an overall glance at a program and where it fits into the national scene. So what they're taking into account is recent history, players that have made it to professional ball in the major leagues, coaching staff, facilities, fan base, really everything that goes into a college baseball program. And it shouldn't be a surprise that at least the top 3 or 4 listed by the guys at D1 Baseball, and that's Aaron Fitt and Kendall Rogers, and we've had them on the show a couple of times. The top 4 programs in the country, according to those who know, are SEC baseball programs. But maybe you think, maybe you would have thought that 1 and 2 would be different, but I'd give them credit for saying that Florida, ranked as the top baseball program in the country, is ahead of Vanderbilt. Now, Vandy, of course, coming off their 2nd national championship and are ranked as the 2nd best program in the country. And then there's Arkansas at number 3. LSU is ranked behind the Razorbacks at number 4. And a lot of that is because of the last 2 years in which Arkansas has made their first back-to-back trips to Omaha in program history. So Arkansas, according to Kendall and Aaron, last year were ranked as the 13th best program in the country. Making it back to the College World Series again, and really I think partially with the outlook of last year, this next season, they've got them ranked 3rd. So that's an awfully great thing to see. So Arkansas ranking is the 3rd best program in the country baseball-wise. And Ty, maybe if the national championship would have been clinched in 2018, they'd have been 1 or 2.
Yeah. Phil, when did you start for the Arkansas baseball team again?
2015 season was my first working for Dave Van Horn's club.
And when's the most success they've had in the history of the program? Out of curiosity,
three of those 5 years they've made it to the College World. Are you putting it on the broadcaster?
Yeah, 100%. I'm jinxing the crap out of you right now.
You certainly are. Certainly are.
I think that you've added nothing but good things to the Arkansas baseball broadcast and the team itself. And Dave seems to have a lot of respect for you. I know we have many callers, many texters that jokingly ask during the season, referring to the football season, when's baseball? Because they want to be back in the thick of winning again. It's not like these Razorback fans' biggest sport is football, is baseball. But they like just being competitive. They like being nationally relevant. And unfortunately, track and field doesn't offer up the same type of ambiance, the same type of love that baseball does. We know the pecking order. It's football, basketball, baseball. So at least there's a recognizable effect when you're talking about Arkansas baseball being in the upper echelon of SEC teams. And I think that Arkansas fans who aren't even big baseball fans, we talked about this several times, enjoy when baseball season comes around because you're actually respected again. And you can't say that's necessarily the case. You definitely can't say that's the case in football the past couple of years. And for basketball, it's been up and down. Yes, you got 2nd in 2015 for Arkansas basketball, but it wasn't one of those things where you were nationally top 10 or top 15. Baseball, Phil, you know how consistent it is. You're top. It's just been incredible. 3 out of 5, and the fact that they've done what they've done the last few years, it's phenomenal. And it's all credit to Dave Van Horn, his staff, and people supporting the baseball program.
Chandler and Roland wants to know what I think about this year's team. Better or worse? I mean, it's difficult to give you a straight-on answer about that, because I can tell you that, at this point last year, we really didn't have any idea how good the team would be. There were so many holes to fill, and you just never expected, those holes would be filled in an affirmative manner. But that's exactly what happened. Going into this next season, you're actually in a better position for your starting pitching than you were going into last year, in which, the starting pitching turned out to be a strength, and you had one of the greatest seasons in Arkansas history thrown in by Isaiah Campbell. But I think with Connor Nolan and Patrick Wicklander returning as your Friday and Saturday night guys, there'll be a good battle for that Friday night spot and really a good battle for the Sunday spot. I think you're deeper in starting pitching. There are question marks about who closes games for you, but there are definitely some arms in that bullpen that could get out there and close. You've got to feel good about Heston Kjerstad and Casey Martin continuing the sort of careers that they've had. I think you'd like to see Casey cut down on the errors and stop chasing off speed pitches in the dirt and fastballs out of the zone. I think one of the players that I think will take a big step forward this next season, and it's not like the success or lack thereof will depend upon how he does, but Jacob Nesbitt. I think Nesbitt will be making a move from third base to second base, and I think Nesbitt is a guy who will be a redshirt sophomore with a little more strength, a little more meat on the bones. He's got great baseball instincts, and I think he could be a guy moving forward that could do great things at the University of Arkansas. We'll see how Kjerstad does at first base, whether or not he actually plays there in the regular season, but they've got him playing there in fall. This new third baseman that transferred from Arizona State, Austin, I believe is his last name, supposedly the real deal. Franklin moving into center field. There'll be some open spots in the corner outfield. But I like what the team sounds like, and again, it's October 1st, so there's still a lot up in the air. But then you look at the coaches, and so much of it goes to the coaches, Ty, with Dave Van Horn, with Matt Hobbs, with Nate Thompson. They just they're able to mold these players, and they always get better as the season goes on, and that to me is a hallmark of a great coaching staff. I always saw that with Joe Foley's UALR women's basketball teams. By the time you rolled into late January and into February, they were playing great basketball. And with Dave Van Horn's teams, by the time you get into late April and into May, they're usually playing great baseball. These teams get better, and that's because Dave and his guys know how to coach them up.
Got a Facebook message from Josefa. He asked, baseball is such a superstitious sport. Phil has become the Razorback good luck charm in a sense. And he also asked, why don't the guys rub Phil's head for good luck when they come out to the field?
Unfortunately, I'm up in the booth for that. I don't know if I can change this.
Well, here's what you do. You just say, Bubba, take over for these next couple minutes. I got to go down and do my pregame ritual. And said, you can become the Howard's Rock of Arkansas baseball. You know how the Clemson players come down that vaunted, not stairwell, but the pathway, and they rub Howard's Rock. We can have Phil Elson's head. That will be a tradition and a ritual that Arkansas baseball absolutely needs. I agree 100% with Jose.
Let's see here. If you want them to rub my scalp, how about I do something that gets me some dandruff, and then I'll shake that dandruff off in the dugout after I'm done interviewing Dave Van Horn. Is that just a little too gross?
Little. Now
I think just a little bit too gross.
I'm picturing it now. So
Chandler also wants to know, do you think Connor can be a legit Friday night guy? The short answer, you betcha. I don't think there's any doubt. I think Connor's already picked up a couple miles an hour from the fastball. I think he's him giving up football and focusing on baseball is going to do great things for the Arkansas baseball program, and it'll do great things for him moving forward in what I think will be a professional pitching career.
Hey, real quick before we close up shop, did you see that the OU band director and the cheerleading members have been instructed not to do the horns down sign?
Is this another get off my lawn, Ty? Because it really feels like it.
I thought about putting this in get off my lawn, but the Chandler Morris thing irritated me a little more.
This whole horns down thing is ridiculous. It really is. They are soft. The Longhorns are soft, but your listeners are not. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with us. For Ty, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, get better.
When was the last time you looked forward to seeing the dentist? Well, if it's been a while or you haven't had the best